The main verse riff harmonization. All right, going through these nice and slow with some explanation on where they belong and the intricacies of each part. Here we go. Intro. There's your intro. This is pretty much, you can find any guitarist is going to show you this on YouTube videos, pretty much the same thing. We all have the same thing here. This is where things, so now that's just the intro. The verse is going to be, by the way, this is the last time we play this part. So we did this, right? Now this part right here, that's the final time we just play it in the intro and that's it. We never play that part again in the song. Instead, as a substitute, we're just going to be strumming that F chord for the couple measures. Of course, you can play it like this, and this would be the preferred way to play it, just because you can get to a C very easily with this fingering. And this is the Lindsey Buckingham way of playing it. So when you get to the, I just showed you the intro, when you get to the verse, and again, bum, bum, bum. You almost imagine that you have a pick. An invisible pick is the way to do it. And Lindsey Buckingham, I don't think ever used picks. Maybe rarely, but no, none of the classics. He just was not a guy with bar chords too. Wasn't big on bar chords. And then and then here's the chorus. This is where things, you might see different versions of this. If you watch him live, you go on YouTube, look up him playing this live in the 70s, and you're going to see him just doing this in the live versions. He's just going to be going. You can just see his pinky move, and that's it. The studio version, though, there's a couple of guitars and it's a little bit more detailed than that, and you can actually include, represent the studio version by doing this. And this is kind of where, this is what I like to do here. I think it sounds great, where I'm going to go. As opposed to, I'm going. And what am I doing there? Hitting the bass note. I'm just on a C, bass note, 2 center strings. Then I'm actually putting my pinky down there, and then I'm moving my middle finger. And what is that right here? I'm playing an F. So my move is C, 2 center strings, 2 center strings again, right? The D and the G. And then I'm going to go right back to a C and play strings 2 and 3. So bass note on a C chord, center strings on that F. There's my pinky and my middle that move, and then to a C, back to a C, but I'm going to play the high 2 string, or strings 2 and 3. That's the way I like to play it. The actual way that he will play this, though, is like this. If you wanted to represent it more, the live version, I'm going to go like this. Or the studio version, we can even go. The difference is between those, I'm not going back to this bass note like I did before. Here's what I initially did, the way I like to play it. Bass, bass. I think that fills it up a lot better. Bass, bass, bass. Again, that bass, he doesn't go back to that bass in the studio version or live versions, but I like to do that, especially if you don't have a ton of band members, and you can fill up, add a little low end by doing that. They've got Christy McVie on the keys. The bass line is unbelievable. John McVie's bass line it's just moving all over the place, and it's loud, and it's definitely noticeable. So you have a lot of low end already there. That's probably a good reason why he's just going like this, right? Just, oops, sorry. So kick off the sequence with a bass note, but then. And same thing with this. He'll go, when I go to this chord, sorry. like to do is emphasize that bass note maybe one extra time, which like this. Just kind of going back to that. Right, that note right there, you know, I'm just adding in that extra bass note. So he doesn't hit that bass note that often. And one of the biggest moves here that's kind of cool is coming out of this. I'm going right back to that C on the and beat, and I'm playing the 2 center strings. And once I do that, I'm going to do this again. So here we go. My move is just on a C chord, C chord, C chord. An F chord is what happens when I make that move. So that's your left hand, and again, 5, 2 center strings, 2 center strings again on the F, and then strings 2 and 3 back to the C, and then I stay on that C to start the new sequence. And then the chorus is the same exact thing as the verse, with the exception of that little slide at the end. So we got the... And you're going to play this 3 times. And this 3rd time, I'm just going to extend it. 3, 4... It's kind of a, if you ever watch, again, Lindsey Buckingham, he'll just throw his finger. Just when he's soloing, he'll be doing that, throw a finger or 2 or 3, just kind of doing that. So that's the, throw a finger on there, and again, that's just I'm on strings 2 and 3. Off, back on, sliding up, frets 2 and 4, on the same 2 strings, strings 2 and 3. Back down here, pull off, and just land on those 2 center strings again. The D and the G, right? It's just basically representing an A5. So that is that part. And now you, at the end there, you probably saw me do the probably one of the more straightforward parts, but that eases into the right channel as the song is progressing. Maybe the last minute and a half, you start hearing that in the right channel. It kind of makes its way in. The left channel's still doing this. So now we can talk. If you have 2 guitarists, that is a really, really cool thing to have the other guitarist kind of come in with this. It's just representing an A minor and an F, just like this is representing an A minor, right, and an F chord. So that's really, really cool to have that second guitarist in there. Speaking of the second guitarist, there's at the end I added that little clip here. This is a harmonized part that you hear right away. As soon as you have the intro of the song, and then all the instruments kick in, maybe 8 seconds into the track, and you actually hear this harmonized part right away. So it's going to go. Christy McVie's keys are doing some of that harmonization, like that same voicing of the harmonization, but there's definitely the guitar that kicks in there, and it kind of comes in occasionally that's doing that same harmonization. And if you wanted to, you don't really need to if this is a secondary guitar part and you have it, right? That's going to be played, of course, over this. Again, here it is, and what you could do if you wanted to, even get that bass note going, so you can even have, right? So, but when you get to this F, it's going to be, then maybe revisit that, bring that bass note to life, because that's going to be, you can't keep that bass note going and go up to that part. All right, and that yeah, if you do have that second guitarist, I mean, at the very least, maybe they can just be doing this. through those early verses where there's not really a designated second guitar part, right? Just a little bit of support, or find a different voicing, right? Capos, to play an A minor, you can do a capo here and play an E minor, right? And that's something really, really important to understand too. Just widening out the spread, if called for, of the actual chord voicings. Have higher voicings here, lower voicings down here, and you're spreading out over the frequency spectrum. A big mass amount of sound, as opposed to just staying down here, two guitars staying down here the whole time. Sometimes that's okay and it's called for, but most of the time I'd find a different voicing for those chords. All right, and that should take care of that.